This is a story about life, death, and yoga pants. This is a story about making war and peace in all the wrong places. This is a story about me and my boy Ibrahim. Ibi is a skinny 6'5". He wears a black kufi on his head. He is the most amazingly terrible karaoke singer I've ever met. For some inexplicable reason, his go-to choice is John Mellencamp, and it hurts so good, so bad. But you could not stop my man Ibi from singing. That's why I love him. You could not stop him from singing. And then he went to Iraq. And then something exploded outside Fallujah. And then he lost the hearing in his right ear. And he doesn't like to talk about it. And the truth is, I'm afraid to ask. I don't really know what the clinical definition of PTSD is. I just know that when a car backfires, Ibi's hand reaches to his hip for a gun that's not there. And I've driven him to therapy. I've driven him home from way too many bars. I would do anything to have my boy back, to have loud, crazy, just chill my boy Ibi back. At least I thought I would. And then Ibi asked me to go with him on a week-long yoga wilderness meditation retreat. He didn't really ask me. Ibi doesn't really ask you to do shit. He just came over my apartment one day about 5 years ago and said, "Healey, pack your bags. We're going on a trip." And I said, "Word, I'm currently fun employed. Minus the fun part. So let's do it. Where are we going?" And he says, "We are going on a wilderness yoga retreat." And I said, "We're going on a Yoda retreat?" Ibi is a big Star Wars dude. And he said, "No, we're going on a yoga retreat." And I said, "We're going on a Yo-Yo Ma retreat?" Because Ibi is also a big classical music fan, or at least so I'm hoping. And he says, "No, motherfucker, we're going on a yoga meditation relaxation retreat." My VA counselor said that it would help my stress and my violent inclinations. But if you don't have my back, that's cool, Healey. So, I mean, yeah, of course I want to have his back, but a wilderness yoga, like in the woods, like with trees, like, all right, so I'd moved to the Bay. I'd been with all of you for a couple years now. So I knew the basics. I knew my holistic and my homeopathic. I knew my Tai Chi from my chai tea. I knew the basics. But something about this just seemed a little too much for my truly authentic self. But this was Ibi. This is my boy. So of course I say, if this is what you need, sign me up. I sign my inflexible ass up. Let's do it. So I'm like, where are we heading? You know, like we're going to Santa Cruz. We're going to Sonoma. There's this little bakery up in Occidental. I love that shit. And Ibi hands me a brochure with a picture of the desert and jagged mountains and says, "You are going to love it. We are going to Death Valley." 5 days and hundreds of miles from civilization later, I'm standing in the middle of the desert trying to pretend like I know how to set up a tent. We're in the heart of Death Valley, on a ridge about 1,000 feet up, but just, right at sea level, surrounded by mountains just rising straight out of the sand. Who's been in Death Valley before? Shit is amazing. It is beautiful and barren all at once. It looks to me, I say, Ibi, it kind of looks like that planet Luke grew up on in Star Wars. That was my first, this is, you know what I'm saying? And he says, it looks to me like the planet outside Baghdad, which is obviously the perfect backdrop for a week of yoga, relaxation, meditation, with me, Ibi, and 10 middle-aged women from Sebastopol. And I didn't know about Sebastopol at this point. Sebastopol, you in the building? No? I love Sebastopol, yeah. Y'all got good bakeries too. And so we are settling in for our first morning vinyasa session, and led by our punk rock, our yoga teacher, Roxanne. Roxanne is a former Hollywood stunt double turned punk rock yogi. That's what I was trying to say. So she has a tattoo on one arm. She has a yin and yang symbol, and the other arm she has Iggy Pop lighting a guitar on fire. So I'm excited about this balance, right? And she's jacked. Her calves, her arms, her calves are, bulging through her yoga pants like the rocks and the cliff. It's amazing. I'm terrified. I place my very nice purple yoga mat on the sand, and I await Roxanne's wisdom. And she starts by saying, for any beginners out there, looking straight at me, she says, yoga is like sex. It's physical, it's spiritual, it's the union of mind, body, and soul. And just like making love, don't worry at first about getting the positions just right. Just set your intentions, listen to your body, and fellas, take your time. Pace yourself. Word. Namaste. Roxanne says that since we're in the desert, we're going to start with sun salutations. I know you guys know all this shit. It was new to me. I was excited and terrified. She said we're going to do 108 or 108,000 or something. She's talking the whole time. You know the deal. She says, whatever is holding you back in life, but she's kind of punk rock with it. So she's like, whatever is holding you back in life, now is the time to let it go. Release it to the desert. Always, always, always remember to breathe. I can do that. So I start following her instructions, and pretty soon, you know what? Just like her metaphor promised, it's a little awkward. It's a little uncomfortable, but then I find my groove. I'm getting into it. I start to connect with my purpose. I start to connect with my hamstrings, and holy shit, Ma, I'm doing yoga. It's amazing. I look over at my boy EB. Talk about amazing. If you ever wondered what it's like to do yoga with military style precision, this is it. It's like right angles, crisp formations. I can hear his mental call and response. Downward dog, sir, yes, sir. Upward cobra, sir, yes, sir. Sideways salamander, sun salutations. I stay saluting everything, son. No? All right. That's not exactly what was happening, but he was very focused and had this energy I'd never really seen before. And he was breathing, and it seemed like he was relaxing, letting himself, dare I say, be in the moment. Maybe this is working. We're an hour into our first yoga class, and I'm kind of about it. Then, suddenly, I feel a large shadow pass over me, and something roars overhead, and it's getting closer. Boom! I look up to see an F-15 flying over us, flying right over us, flying fast and slow. It's sleek, it's silver, it's billion-dollar beautiful. It's zigzagging in and out of the mountain range. And I don't know if you've ever been to Death Valley, but there's a bunch of Army and Air Force bases nearby, and this is where they do some of their training grounds. I guess when you're constantly going to war in deserts overseas, what better place to train than a desert called Death Valley? And next to me, I can hear EB grinding his teeth. And he's not breathing quite as deeply. And he's got that look in his eyes like when the car backfires. And we're on what feels like sun salutation 1 million when another F-15 swoops through the valley. And then another. And then another. Boom, boom, boom! They're loud as hell. It's the loudest thing I've ever heard. EB is grinding his teeth louder than the engines. They're flying in formation above. We're stretching in formation below. And I know that these fools can see us because we're the only people, the only life out here for miles in any direction. The jets are flying so low, it feels like they're taunting us. Like, hey, we might have you in our sights. Where am I? Am I in a desert? A drop zone? Ecosystem? Mausoleum? Where am I? Boom, boom, boom! One plane flies so low, I swear I can see the pilot waving. That's it. That's it. That's it. EB jumps up. I'm not playing this game anymore. He jumps off the yoga mat, grabs his backpack, and runs to the edge of the cliff. Something in his voice scares me. I jump and chase up behind him. He's standing on the edge of the cliff, staring at the desert floor 1,000 feet below. He turns around to face me. His eyes, red, blaze like fire. He says, Healey, I never told you what really happened over there. You want to know how I lost this hearing? You really want to know? It wasn't from Al-Qaeda. It wasn't no IED. It was one of ours. I said, what do you mean? Like friendly fire? He said, not so friendly. I was delivering food. We were delivering food to this hospital right in Fallujah. Out of nowhere, these jets come. They bomb the whole block. Half the hospital's gone. My eardrum along with it. The last thing I ever heard in this ear was screams. Just screams. Hundreds of people running and screaming, running and screaming. It's the last thing. I don't want to hear it no more. I said, Jesus, I'm sorry, man. I don't know what to say. I can't even imagine. He says, I don't want to hear them anymore, Healey. I don't want to hear it anymore. And with that, he reaches into his backpack and pulls out what I think at first is a black water bottle. When I shield my eyes from the sun, do I realize my best friend is holding a gun. He brings a gun to a yoga relaxation retreat. Evie, what the fuck? What are you doing with the gun? Evie, what are you doing? He says, I don't want to hear it no more. I don't want to hear it no more. I say, Evie, listen to me. Do you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm right here. I'm your brother. Put the gun down. He shakes his head and said, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, we came out here to change it up, right? We came here to do some fucking yoga. Let's do some fucking yoga. Like, what do you call this one? Warrior one? He does the arm pose with his arms. He stretches the arm and points the gun right at me. I said, Evie, dude, it's me. Chill out, man. Like, Evie, put the gun down. He said, what do you call this one? What do you call this one? What do you call this one? Warrior 2 points the gun at his head. I say, Evie, this isn't funny, man. This isn't funny no more. Like, I love you, dog. Like, I'm here. He says, what do you call this one? What do you call this one? Warrior 3? As the F-15, the last F-15 flies right across our eyesight, takes the gun, and he throws it off the cliff in the direction of the plane. And it's flying up in the sky. And I swear, I feel like it's going to hit the plane, or it's going to hit the sun, or it's going to hit heaven. But gravity wins. The gun falls down harmlessly 1,000 feet off the cliff. Evie yells out to the plane. He said, you can't get me. You can't get me. I'm still here. You think you're going to win? You can't win over there, not over here. I'm still here. I'm still here. He raises his arms to the sky and collapses to the ground. I rush over and catch him before he hits the sand. I say, you're still here, man. You're still here. I'm here. Now, please, can we step away from the cliff? Can we step away from the edge? EB looks at me. He lets go of whatever this boulder is, whatever this gun is. He lets it go. It's off the cliff. He looks at me, says, Healey, it's time. It's time to go. And I hold him. He's laughing, he's crying to keep from laughing. Everything, all of it's coming out, all of it. And me and my man are standing there at the edge of the cliff. Until finally, we turn around, and I can feel the change. And we turn around, and there, standing there, having watched this whole scene, is Roxanne and her tattoos and the rest of the yoga class. And one of the women looks at us and looks at Roxanne, asks Roxanne, how did you plan all of this? This is the best retreat I've ever been on. Evie walked away from the cliff. We went back. And 5 years later, my man is still here. My man is still with us. My man is alive and stretching himself and us in many ways. And I've lost too many friends too soon. Too many students, too many veterans of wars, foreign and domestic. But my man Evie is still here, and more every day. A true warrior who just a little bit was able to find a little peace right there in the valley of death, in the valley of life.